What you're doing is you're telling the body, this is the reality. This is the reality. Your body has no way of knowing if it is reality or isn't reality. Welcome to Spirituality Explained for the Average Joe, where I take one spiritual topic and explain it to you in a short video. Today's episode is on affirmations. Oh yes. We're going to cover just what's an affirmation and what you need in your affirmations to make sure that they're working, why affirmations work, and the power of doubt and what we're doing that make our affirmations not work. Today, before we get started, hit the subscribe button because I hope my videos are bringing you some inspiration and value into your life. And today's video, my goal is to make sure that I'm able to help you just start attracting and manifesting things into your life. The things that you want are going to start to show up. Just what is an affirmation?
The act of affirming. Something affirmed, a positive assertion.
So affirmations are something powerful that we can use to attract and manifest things that we want in life, major things, the job, the girlfriend, money to actually progress and do something and change the world, right? And I'll make a separate video sharing with you different type of affirmations for different things. So today I'll just give you one example of an affirmation that I can remember off the top of my head, which is, Lord, bless me with a life partner according to thy laws of perfect soul union. That is so powerful, A, because it comes from a special person, and B, it's just got all the ingredients it needs. That is so powerful. By saying that, I will attract my life partner and push away. There's 4 ingredients that your affirmation's got to have to make sure it's going to work. The first one is got to be potent of soul vibration. The second is it's got to be in tune with God's will. The third is it's got to be also in tune with life's purpose. And the fourth thing is it's got to be free from uncertainty and doubt. So let's unpack those things. 1, potent of soul vibration. So I think most of the time we forget that we're spiritual beings, right? And a spiritual being with an astral and a causal body. And majority of our goal in life is to evolve as a spiritual being. And to understand all this, make sure and go back and watch my video, Your Soul's Journey, where I explain to you why your soul takes on this physical earth suit, your astral and your causal body. I cover it all, and it gives you a much more comprehensive understanding of what we're doing here on planet Earth. Because we're spiritual beings, we've got to speak in the language of the soul, because the soul is the part of us that is wanting the higher progression. It wants to progress back to God, back home. Number 2 is being in tune with God's will. Now, I would say don't be very super specific with an affirmation, because it's really just, you know how we think we want something specific, but then something even better comes along. So God's got a much bigger picture of our life. So if you're having an affirmation for a certain type of partner or job, keep it vague and open so life can surprise you and God can surprise you with something just perfect for you. Because if you're affirming for something specific, like a certain bae at work or something, and that girl may not be the right one that's for your highest good, it may or may not work, your affirmation, right? You may want to open up that affirmation. Number 3 is it's also got to be in line with the purpose of life. Well, a lot of people are like, what's the purpose of life, right? My personal believings and thoughts, notes from I've taken over the years, is the purpose of life is to know God, right? And that's kind of like philosophically speaking from an aerial view perspective of what in the world are we doing on earth in this reincarnation cycle of coming here. But what are we doing here? It's to go back to God. But I would also say, you could also say that's also to go back to good, to do for the greater good, to find your highest path. So as long as your affirmation is trying to grow you as a character, you're going to be just fine. Oh, I've got to just show you all my view. That bird just flew by, but isn't it just lovely? Okay. And number 4, your affirmations need to be free from uncertainty and doubt. We're going to get to that, but that is self-explanatory. So if you meet those 4 things in your affirmations are going to be highly explosive vibration bombs. Oh, it's so perfect. I wear my bombshell shirt today. If you like pinup stuff or if you like retro vibes, I've got all types of merch in every single size and every single color for girls and guys. Go to my website. So what else is needed to be in your affirmations? repetition, calmness, concentration. I can't say it enough. Concentration is a big one. Concentrate on what you're affirming and try to feel it. And then lastly, faith. Another thing that can help your affirmations is writing them down, but that is such a powerful topic, I'm actually going to make a complete separate video on it. So while we're talking about writing and rhythm and concentration, why do our affirmations work? Well, the genetic code of our human DNA has the same structural syntax as grammar. So DNA understands frequency, which is a vibration of will and concentration. And concentrated human thought touches the will that rouses energy. And God and the universe respond to energy. God responds to sincerity and repetition, and especially energy, right? So this is all spiritual law working for us. And you could also say it's also quantum physics law. It's also cosmic law. So once you've found this thing that you want to start affirming on, right? Like you're going to set aside enough time to create something. Once you said, I will, never give up, even when the contrary happens. Still believe in your mind that it is actually happening until it actually happens. Okay guys, so now let's say we've said our affirmations and we've sprinkled the vibratory prayer seeds. Now it's time we have faith, right? We've got to trust, we're going to surrender and leave the rest to God. So this faith and patience allows the divine to work uninterruptedly, right? So don't dig up the seed and see if it's germinated yet. You've done the affirmations. You believe it's already done. You know, they always said that Jesus said, pray like it's already done, right? Like that's the actual secret to being healed is pray like your prayer should be, thank you, God, for the healing. So faith is not knowing that God can. That's not faith because we know God can do anything. Faith is knowing that God will. Still reading from my notes, it says, God never fails to any small, sincere spiritual effort. It's a tongue twister. Small, sincere spiritual effort. God never fails to hear it and to greet it. So that's all those little times that you maybe set aside some time, said a prayer, meditated. But he responds in such humble ways. Sometimes it goes unnoticed, right? So many times our prayers are being answered and things that we're thinking about and manifesting. So many things we're manifesting. I mean, we're manifesting almost a lot, right? We don't even know it. And because he works in such humble ways, how neat is that? It's like, here this is. Basically, here's these steps beneath your feet. And, you know, we take it off for granted. Reading from my notes, it says that we've got to trust that God has our best interest because we've got our own timetable, but God's got a whole nother timetable. And we're also practicing yoga, guys. And yoga is balance. And that means we do our part and God does the other part. And I'm going to share with you in our church or my temple, they always remind us of this. And this is like math that they're always talking about. And it can be applied to all of you guys in all religions, which is, how does stuff get done, right? Like how's my spiritual path and how do I go home? All of this. How does everything work? 25% is my effort in my meditations personally, but you could say my spiritual effort, right? Everybody has a different sadhana. Some people just like to go to church. Some people like to talk to God from home, whatever. 25% is my effort and my meditations. 25% is my guru's effort. Now, when I say guru, I love this part because it can be anybody. Like so many faiths have characters of some type of human that brings them closer to God. So Jesus is a really big popular one. You've got Muhammad, Buddha, and Krishna, other gurus and people's characters that they pray to in order to get higher to God. So 25% your effort, 25% your guru's effort, whoever that is, and 50% is the grace of God. And that is a spiritual calculation that has really been imprinted into me over the years with my church. So I find it to be a spiritual truth in my own beliefs. It's time we talk about why our affirmations may not work. Like some of us may say like, oh, I've been affirming this for years and it's not working, right? Well, let's go over one of the main ones, which is doubt. And doubt can be a destructive obstacle to affirmations working. So the key ingredient to affirmations is faith that it will work out. And when they ran studies on different large groups of people that actually did affirmations and then followed up to see if the things came true and if it worked, they found out that children perform better than adults. And if you think about it, that's kind of simple because children do have more faith and they're more likely to believe in magic. Speaking of magic, let's get philosophical for a second. Okay, so we have an ego, right? And the ego's job is to tie our soul to our physical earth suit, right? The soul binds you to your earth suit and this matter-based world. And the ego is lazy and it likes the path of least resistance, which is much easier, right? It's much easier to say, this matter-based world is real and this very ground I'm sitting on is a solid rock, right? And it's a solid. Why? Because it's easy. You could prove it and you could measure it. So it's easier to say this is real versus the unseen is also real, right? Because magic happens in the unseen. So the ego likes to say, yeah, you got to work hard to get results that can be measured. It's easier to live in this physical world versus, I can manifest this massive amount of money to create and build something amazing for my life, or I could manifest a woman that's in the unseen, like my life partner, that is so mind-blowingly more amazing than I can even build her to be or build him to be. That's unseen. That's trusting in something that hasn't yet presented itself, which means it doesn't even exist to be measured, much less be tangibly real. So the ego is always going to keep us in a realistic standpoint, which doesn't really feel good. And our soul, on the other hand, our soul knows that it's infinite magic and it knows where it came from. It knows all your past lives. It knows anything is possible. But the soul really can't help us manifest these wonderful things we want because it's covered and it's kind of quieted and it's covered in this, encased in this earth suit that we're wearing. So it's kind of pushed back. That's why when we are doing our affirmations, we're really concentrating to get it to reach the soul. And that's why I think it was important. Go back to the number one ingredient you need in your affirmations, that they speak potently of the soul's vibration. So you're actually trying to speak directly in the language of a spiritual being. So you could really just, over time, with that repetition, you're firing new brain waves. You're really just subconsciously training yourself. This is the way. This is the way. This is the way. It's the resistance against the ego. The ego's got everything clapped down on us, right? And that new affirmation is really just slowly, with concentration, rewiring everything we need to, because if we're believing it, and on every kind of like everything comes from when the body believes it, right? They actually say that, like, you got to tell your body, all the cells in your body has to know it, and the universe actually just simply responds to what the body now knows. They say your body doesn't know any difference subconsciously. That's one of the greatest things I took away from my therapy is you can write things down, what you want to affirm or whatever, because what you're doing is you're telling the body, this is the reality. This is the reality. Your body has no way of knowing if it is reality or isn't reality. And I'm talking about the body, not the brain, not the mind, but the actual cells of the body don't know the difference. So man by nature may actually be more prone to focus a little bit on the negative things and not so much maybe on the positive, I can conquer the world side, because the ego is more practical and it's easier for us to take safer choices, which is, I don't know if I could do that. Let me calculate it out. Let me take a safer route. There's a joke saying there's no sense in thinking pessimistic because it won't work anyway. So this is when spiritual law kicks in. We get what we think about, but yet it's harder to think the positive thoughts because we're programmed that way. But spiritual law says you get what you think about. So we have no other choice but to take the harder route and to really condition ourselves to be positive, to be optimistic, to shoot for the stars, because that's really what we're yearning for. And guess what? When we do, we're winning. We're beating Maya. We're beating Satan. We're working in direct opposition to that, because that's, Maya, Satan, they want us to live in this ego-based world that this is real. But we're in direct opposition when we're really being optimistic, when we're really speaking to the soul, and when we're winning in life. Guys, we can affirm what we want into our life. We just have to set aside the time and take the time to do the affirmations with the vibratory bombs just waiting to go off. Okay, well, my ride is coming, so I've got to run. I hope you liked today's video. I hope you find a little spiritual truth in it and you start to affirm something that you want to change in your life, please share me with anyone you think I might bring inspiration to you. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Love you so much.